Hello and welcome to In the Know. I'm Mark Crosby of Quincy Access Television. Thank you for joining us. In the Know is a program that helps you to stay informed and, learn a lot about the topic that we feature on any given day. Today we are joining the Norfolk County Sheriff, Patrick McDermott. And Pat, welcome to Studio B of Quincy Access Television. This is a change, I think, for both of us.
A little different venue, but we accommodate, we make adjustments when necessary.
Absolutely. So thank you. We should mention that Quincy Access Television is going through some remodeling. So our Studio A is having new lights put in. So in the interim, we are hanging out in Studio B.
Studio B.
So, Sheriff, I know what we're going to be concentrating on is mental health, this particular episode, and the variety of programs that the Sheriff's Office does have, and the coalitions that you have made.
Yeah, so mental health and substance use disorder is something that is prevalent throughout our communities in Norfolk County and throughout the country. And it's no stranger to our facility at the Norfolk County Correctional Facility. September, the month that we're filming this, is National Suicide Awareness Month, and we recently recognized the International Overdose Awareness Day in August. It's sad that suicide still remains a high, there's still a pretty high rate that goes around in our country. In Massachusetts alone, in our correctional facilities, there's been about 7 or 8 of them in the last few months. And that's a tragedy that's on the sheriff's offices when we see that happen. Fortunately, in Norfolk County, we haven't had one. However, we did have a catch just a couple of weeks ago. One of our officers, who was very vigilant, made sure her checks were being made on a consistent basis, found an inmate in distress, and immediately got him mental health and physical care to take care of that. So we're really committed to focusing on mental health awareness in the facility, and we also want to spread that out to the people in Norfolk County as well.
We should mention, too, that there is a suicide prevention hotline, and that graphic will be on screen momentarily.
Yeah, we just rolled that. All of us in public safety and in government rolled that out this past summer. And for anybody that's feeling distressed or depressed or any kind of suicidal tendencies whatsoever, or just needs mental health discussion with a counselor that's available, it's a national hotline, which is 988. Very simple. You can either text that or call it on your phone, and a trained professional will be available for you to discuss whatever your concerns are. And at the end of the day, we're just trying to prevent people from injuring themselves.
I know a lot of folks have heard this, dealing with the pandemic. I want to say that overdoses have taken maybe a back seat to that in the news, but if anything, the pandemic has possibly increased numbers because simply it was tough to deal with the pandemic for everybody.
On adults and children alike, and specifically on our kids. We did, as I said, at the end of August was International Overdose Awareness Day, and I made a speech in Braintree, and I met with some grieving families who have gone through it, and a lot of the substance use disorder that goes on is a direct result of mental health illnesses that occurred during the pandemic. And as you just pointed out, and I said to people during the time, COVID became a headline. It stole a lot of other important issues off of the main pages, and one of the biggest ones was substance use disorder and mental health. And as I spoke to the grieving families in Braintree, and we had another event here in Quincy as well, their heart is ripped out of them, and they will not recover. And fortunately for the grieving parents, the grieving brothers and sisters and family and friends, we're there to help them get through their grief and hopefully see them on the other side. So it's a real serious problem, and I think the epidemic, COVID, with the isolation at people's homes, with kids not going to school, certainly exacerbated the situation, and that's why we're focusing a lot of our effort on mental health counseling and substance use disorder prevention.
So let's expand the role of overdose prevention programs in your office. And of course, we know Quincy's is quite prominent in Narcan training.
Yeah, so Norfolk County has been kind of on the leading edge on this issue for a number of years, and well before I was sheriff. I do remember when I was register of probate, the Quincy Police Department were quite active, and we were partnering with them because we dealt with it in the family court quite a bit. Lieutenant Pat Glynn, nationally recognized. In fact, I think that the White House referred to our strategy as the Quincy model on how to deal with opioid abuse and how to focus on Narcan, which is a drug called naloxone, that actually is something that through advocacy, the Quincy Police Department made sure that Narcan was available in every police cruiser, for every first responder, and that became a model of excellence that was referenced by the White House. And is now something I hear about at National Sheriff's Association meetings, Major County Sheriffs of America, FBI leader conferences, and really proud that that came right from my hometown in Quincy, and certainly the county that I've represented for 20 years now.
Let's look at mental health services that are provided by your office.
Yeah, so mental health is in fact healthcare, and we make sure that we provide important and critical treatment for all aspects of our justice-involved individuals' health and wellness, and that includes mental health. So justice-involved individuals have access to speak with our mental health counselors. We've expanded our mental health counselors at the Norfolk County Correctional Facility to make sure that we have enough people available at all times to make sure that people have access to that counseling. We have a number of programs and courses that help people that are housed in our facility address their mental health issues. It's an especially critical service because many of the people that we have in our care here, there's sometimes there's ongoing mental health, but largely untreated mental health issues when we receive these men into our facility. So it's one of the first things we make sure they sit down with a mental health counselor to specifically look as to what their issues might be. Sadly is that the correctional facilities throughout Massachusetts serve as the largest mental health counseling, mental health healthcare providers in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Years ago, a lot of our mental health hospitals were closed. People became homeless. A lot of people ended up on the streets doing drugs. We see that the effects of that now. Not as much throughout Norfolk County, but I think that the headline grabber of what's known as Mass and Cass in Suffolk County and Boston has been prevalent and going on for a number of years. And that's largely due to mental health and lack of services. So our jails actually become mental health facilities for inmates. Unfortunately, people have to commit crimes to get there. And we're very proud, though, of the services that we do provide our justice-involved individuals who have mental health and substance use disorder problems. So our focus is to make sure that they are prepared for reentry on day one. And so if somebody comes to our facility with a mental health issue, substance use disorder issue, we focus that on day one. And we start that plan towards reentry on day one, whether it's setting up services for these individuals, focusing on mental health and drug use issues, because our main goal is that reentry component to make sure that people are ready for when they come back to live in the city of Quincy, the town of Brookline, Randolph, or Cohasset. These people are coming back to live amongst us, and we need to make sure that they're prepared both mentally and physically to do that.
So is this the substance abuse unit of your department?
So this is a highly structured program that we have. So we have a 45-day program that consults consists of group sessions in classes that are based in the principles of cognitive behavior therapy, CBT, we call it, to help address both the substance use disorder issues, addiction issues, and those things that lead to criminal behaviors. So that's a 45-day intensive program that we offer. We also have, in addition to that, which is our most successful effort, and something that our justice-involved individuals who they flock towards what's known as our recovery panels. And this came about really, they were existing before I became sheriff, but we needed to do something when the pandemic hit, and we couldn't have third-party providers in the facility. We couldn't have counselors or recovery coaches come in. So we put together an online recovery panel, which brought together counselors, nonprofit agencies, formerly incarcerated individuals to come on a Zoom call. And we were able to do that throughout the pandemic. And these recovery panels were very popular amongst the individuals that we serve. And the participants, those that wanted to bring the services, were very happy that we were able to provide that. Now that the pandemic is theoretically in an endemic stage, we've opened our doors back up. We're bringing recovery panels back in live. And we're looking forward to having some really good success stories out of that. We've already had a lot of them, so we want to continue that.
What about the residential substance abuse treatment program?
So another very intensive program is a 12-week program that helps justice-involved individuals with substance use disorder prepare for returning to their community. The program consists basically, once again, addressing social, cognitive, behavioral, and vocational aspects of recovery and reentry to people. And we do have within our facility our medically assisted treatment program, which allows individuals who are addicted to opiates to have access to medication that helps them, that relieves their addiction towards those drugs and helps them wean off the effects of opioids. So we're the first ones in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to provide a injectable form of the medication, which from our reports back from those that are on the program, they're very satisfied that it's working. And there's some results that have already been proven through some research studies by some prominent medical and collegiate facilities that show medically assisted treatment works.
Talk about self-help programming that's provided by the Norfolk County Sheriff.
So we know that that this is an ongoing struggle, and so people have to have access to a different variety of programming that can give those individuals a chance for self-improvement in many areas that impact the men in our facility. And I appreciate those offerings too, because I think we all need a little bit of mental health for our own well-being. You don't have to be somebody in the jail facility, but I practice meditation every day.
Well, and it's nothing to be ashamed about.
Absolutely
either.
not. You really, we all have a little mental health issues, all of us, whether it's job related through stress, whether it's a crisis in our family, maybe you're going through a divorce, maybe your kids are not where they want to be or where you need them to be, and it can cause undue stress on you, your relationships, and so we need to find self-care opportunities. And certainly I do a lot of reflection every day, whether it's a 20-minute meditation in the morning, quick meditation before I go home at night so I'm not bringing my work home with me, and we've provided that kind of education to the individuals at our facility. And meditation is something we've taught. We bring in yoga to our justice-involved individuals, and once we teach those programs to the individual, they can do them on their own. It doesn't take much to meditate. It's really sitting down by yourself, closing your eyes. They do have access to music, so you put on some soft music and you start reflecting with some positive mantras, and it's amazing how many people can calm their temperature down and really bring stress relief into their life, which really helps on the mental health issues.
Dramatically, just a few moments practicing that will make you feel better.
Yeah, and we also provide other programs that deal with anger management. Because that most of the individuals that we have some kind of anger control issues that need to be dealt with. Parenting skills. Parenting, as we both know, can be very stressful.
We were talking about.
We were just talking about that. Dealing with our kids going to college, and it's no different than a man who's in prison. It's actually probably worse because they know that they're not there to support their kids, their wife, or their significant other. So we teach that better parenting skills, how better to communicate with your kids, and that helps on the mental health issues as well. Compulsive behaviors. We all have those as well, I think, on the outside and the inside, but that leads to sometimes to criminal behavior. So we want to make sure that people have an understanding of what compulsive behaviors are, and certainly domestic relationships. We have a lot of issues with domestic violence in our communities, and a lot of people are incarcerated because of their inability to deal with their anger, and which results in domestic violence issues. So we focus on that as well.
Let's look at youth and the Youth Substance Use and Mental Health Task Force.
So I give credit, my predecessor, the prior Sheriff McDermott, did institute a version of this task force prior to COVID. And unfortunately, it did get shut down during the COVID crisis. And so it was originally set up to focus on juvenile substance use disorder. And I added the mental health component to it too, especially coming out of COVID.
Well, often they really are attached.
They are. Kids as young as, sadly young as 10, 11 years old, are self-medicating a lot of times, especially if they've determined that their parents have something in their medicine cabinets. We hear that a lot. Kids experiment with things, and we wanted to bring together a task force at least to discuss what's going on in our kids' lives. So we have active members of our task force from the school communities, from the nonprofit communities. We have guest speakers come in every month, and what we want to do is share communication amongst the county to find out what's working, what's not working, and come up with some real solutions that we can share amongst our peers throughout the county. And I'm fortunate because one of our school committee members here in the city of Quincy, Kathy Hubley, is on my staff, and she's been tasked with chairing that substance use task force. She's done a phenomenal job, and she's had numerous sessions, mostly on Zoom. We're hoping to get back to an in-person meeting sometime soon to really share some strategies. But she does a great job. She puts together these themed, every month a theme that we're going to discuss, these breakout sessions, and I've found it to be quite helpful in terms of the sharing of ideas. And I think it's the eventual goal is to come up with some kind of programmatic approach to how we want to deal with that. But I'm really proud of the effort that has been put forth so far, and I'm looking forward now to seeing some fruits of the initial work that we've done. So,
I know Kathy.
Absolutely.
Great person. Let's talk about, because this is obviously connected to mental health and youth, and that's bullying and cyberbullying.
Yeah, I think it's really dangerous. We've heard a lot about it. It's in the news quite a bit, and it's not going away anytime soon. It's the fact that kids have access, obviously, to phones and the internet and computers and social media.
So I think it's evolved from the playground.
It certainly has.
Certainly.
Bullying in the old days was, I'm going to steal your lunch money, and I'm going to beat you up after school. And it's now become a cyber issue, and it's a 24/7.
You said it, 24/7.
And the issue, so we really need to train and teach our kids to communicate how they're feeling when they're in a situation where they might be getting bullied. And it doesn't take much, and it's sad because there's a lot of jumping on when it comes to making fun of kids online, and we want to make sure that kids feel empowered to speak up, to report the issues to their parents, to a guidance counselor or a counselor at school or a teacher or a coach, and that's important. And we need to make sure as parents, as coaches, as teachers, as law enforcement officials, that we're sensitive to the needs of the kids too. And we need to be able to identify when a kid might be going through those certain situations. And so that's part of the task force too, is to kind of help people identify where those kids might be going through a tough patch and how we deal with it.
Let's talk about the Public Safety Alliance. What is that? And talk about your involvement in it.
So the Public Safety Alliance is a rebranding of a program that was we used to have a program called Triad, which was a simple program that it was a very effective program, but it was a partnership between the Sheriff's Office, the local police department, and the Council on Aging. And it was geared towards seniors to make sure that seniors are feeling safe in public safety, and which is a great program. And we still have multiple versions of that. But the more and more I thought about it, public safety is something that affects everybody. It's kids, it's seniors, it's average regular citizens. It affects businesses. So I wanted to expand our scope and rebrand the Triad program to include multiple agencies across the county. So what we've done is we've put together a coalition led by myself, District Attorney Mike Morrissey, former sheriff and current Norfolk County Treasurer Mike Bellotti, to bring together all the various agencies in Norfolk County, all the stakeholders. So we start with our police chiefs, our fire chiefs, our first responders. We have some ambulatory care people that are involved. We bring our councils on aging, our healthcare directors, our veteran service agent directors, our school superintendents, sometimes principals. And we basically go community by community to engage all these folks about what it means to have a safe community. How do we build a safe community? So the Public Safety Alliance is a conglomerate of all these agencies from across the county in a big umbrella parent organization. But what we're now going to be doing, we've rolled this out over the last several months, but now we're going to go really deep into the heart of each community. We're going to be signing memorandums of understanding with each community about what we intend to grow out of this. And the eventual goal is to have a safe community, a safe place to live, to work, to raise our kids, safe playgrounds, safe streets. And this is going to go back to some old school stuff. I mean, when I was on the city council back in the 1990s, we promoted, which right now seems like, of course you did, community policing. Back in the 90s, community policing was not a very popular topic amongst law enforcement because it just was a reimagining of how law enforcement works in the community. Quincy was on the cutting edge. We were able to develop it with the police department, and we rolled it out. And now community policing is just something that's expected amongst communities. But we want to go back to safe neighborhoods, national night out programs, which kind of went by the wayside, about partnering our law enforcement with our local communities. The old, basically your safe neighborhood initiatives. Watch out. You're basically your neighborhood watch groups. If you see something, say something. That's a phrase that kind of gets used but never gets implemented. And I think it's important that we educate our communities neighborhood by neighborhood on what it is to be safe. And that's safety from criminal behavior, but it's also health safety. It's also dealing with pandemics. It's dealing with environmental issues. So every community is going to have something that I think is more important to them maybe than other things. Our coastal communities are going to have some environmental issues, when it comes to what makes them feel safe versus maybe some folks that live down county in other parts. So it's a real exciting time to put together this group of agencies all under the umbrella of public safety. And it was a goal that I had when I ran for sheriff. And now 2 years later, I'm starting to see a little bit of the fruit of that.
Talk about a part of the Triad program. It's the Are You OK program, and that is basically a wellness check.
So our Are You OK program, and I'd love to talk about it, and I appreciate being able to on this show. We're actually rebranding and redoing and retooling it just so we can expand the program. Right now, it's a daily phone call that's made to an individual free of charge that checks in and says, basically, are you okay? An automated phone system. And we ask that you respond, press any button, it'll respond yes, that you checked in. But if we don't hear back from you, we're going to initiate that first response call to follow up to make sure that you are well, or if you need services. If we don't hear from you, we initiate first responders to go and do a wellness check. And I say we're rebranding it and redoing it. We need to expand it, and we need to invest in the technologies necessary so that thousands of people, we only have hundreds of people on it now, but I know that when we get to a point where I want to see it, there'll be thousands of people across Norfolk County on this program. We also entered into, well, we haven't formally done it yet, but breaking news story. No, it's our great program that is run by the Norfolk County Commissioners called the Senior RSVP Program, the Retired Senior Volunteers Program. Rob Pearson over at the County Commissioner's Office runs this. There's hundreds of seniors that are actively looking to do public service work. We're going to be engaging seniors, helping seniors. So we're going to have seniors manning our phones on a daily basis who are going to be actually reaching out to seniors, checking in with them, are you okay? Because at the end of the day, when we have thousands and thousands of people on this program, we're going to need a lot of volunteers. And so no better place than the Norfolk County RSVP program. I salute Commissioners Joe Shea, Peter Collins, and Dick Stady for what they're doing, investing in that program. And we're going to be a recipient of the benefits of that.
Very good. We're going to end this program talking about comfort animals, talking about Eddie the comfort dog and another canine.
Yes, so we've invested in it, like many police departments around the county and around the state, in a comfort dog therapy dog program. And we have Eddie, our comfort dog, is actively going out into the communities, visiting hospitals, schools, crisis intervention situations, and basically, once again, we're talking about mental health, we're talking about crisis issues, substance use disorder. Comfort dogs play an integral role in public safety in helping calm a temperature down in a room, whether it's domestic violence, a call that goes out, or whether it's a crisis situation in a school system. So Eddie has done a remarkable job going out with his canine handler, Officer Monahan, and we're looking forward to Eddie's book. Eddie's booked, by the way, booked solid. So other than crisis situations, Eddie's booked. So we did have to expand our program. And as of today, as the taping of our show today, this is day 2 of my personal pet, my personal dog, Cleopatra, who is a 7-month-old St. Bernard. Cleo started her therapy dog training yesterday. I figured with my wife, who has a full-time job, and my kids at school, you got to be a responsible pet owner. You don't leave your dog at home by him or herself. So I take my dog to work every day, and she has to earn her keep. So this is the way that she's going to do it.
So it benefits her, and it certainly benefits residents as well.
And she's fantastic. I brought her to the sheriff's office. I bring her down to leadership camp. She's already quite a comfort dog without the formal training. But after this 10-day intensive program that she's done, we miss her because there's day 2 and she's a 10-day program that she lives down at the college down in Middleborough. And when she comes back, she'll be fully trained to do it. She'll be certified. And I look forward to having her as part of the canine unit at the sheriff's office.
I know Eddie did visit us at one point when we were in the larger studio.
Yes.
There would still be room for Eddie here. Maybe Cleopatra might visit us at some point.
Well, we'll definitely need a bigger studio for Cleopatra. Eddie's a nice, golden lab, nice tiny fit dog. Cleopatra at 7-month-old is already 75 pounds, and she's on her way to be 150 pounds. So
is she? Okay.
She'll be a big dog. So Studio B might not accommodate Cleopatra. We'll need that back to the main drag.
We'll go back to Studio A. I do just want to make a note as we're talking about wellness, and we are at the end of this program, so we won't get into too much detail. We have talked about it in the past. The real importance of the Youth Leadership Academy, and that was expanded to include Franklin, I believe, this year.
So we have, we had about 1,000 kids go through the program this summer in both Braintree and in Franklin. And we're looking forward to another great summer in the summer 2022. We celebrated 20 years this year, so over 15,000 people have gone through the program. But I want to let people know too, it doesn't stop at the end of the summer. We're rolling out programs throughout the fall, throughout the winter, and into the spring of 2023, right, next year. So we have we're actively engaging. If you have a Boy Scout troop, a Girl Scout troop, you want to send down your 5th grade class, at Marymount School, whatever. We have a program, one day a field trip that allows folks to come down in a kind of a miniaturized version of our leadership program. We have our ropes courses available. The kids love going up on the ropes course. But it's such an invaluable thing. We are talking about mental health, and there's nothing better than having the kids out and about doing. That's our time is up.
Our time is up.
Having the kids going out and really peer-to-peer relationship building and making sure that their self-confidence is better, that their leadership skills are there. And it's a great program, and we are expanding it.
And doesn't lead to problems that we were talking about for the majority of this show.
Exactly. Yep.
Well, Sheriff, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you at home for watching, and please continue to support your local access TV station for more programming just like this.